When people think of the key of a piece of music, often the first thing they think about is how many sharps or flats are there. This is certainly a good way of finding out what the key signature is, but it doesn't really tell us how keys work or why they're important. It seems off topic, but let's begin by thinking about our solar system, a collection of 8 planets revolving around the Sun, which lies at the centre. The interesting thing is that these 8 planets and the Sun are not all equal. They're not all doing the same thing. Instead, the Sun is at the centre of these planets and the planets circle around the Sun. And it's almost as if they're tied by some invisible string. But of course it's actually the mass of the Sun and the pull of gravity which attracts them towards the centre. This feeling of attraction, this gravitational pull if you like, happens in music as well. If we have a song that's in C major and we're using the C major scale, then all of these notes are not all equal in their mass or their value. Instead, we can think of the C, which is the key centre or the tonic, being at the centre of all of these notes, and the other notes all being related to this central note of C. It's this key centre, this massive value in one particular note, which gives music this feeling of tension and release, expectation and reality. It allows music to be developed and to go on a journey and to feel like at certain times we've reached a place of rest, maybe at the end with a cadence, and for other times music to feel like it hasn't reached this place of rest. And so musical ideas can be developed, and it almost creates this feeling of a journey throughout the music in between these places of rest and tension. Think of the different feelings that you experience throughout the day. Maybe you go to school, go to work, see a friend, go to a restaurant. Each of these places has a very different feeling compared to that of coming home at the end of the day. And coming home at the end of this day creates a feeling of rest, and that's the kind of feeling that we get in music when we go back to this key centre. Here's a short example of a piece of music, and see if you can hear when the music has a moment of tension and when it resolves to a place of rest. So if the notes within a song are so closely tied to this key centre, how is it possible for us to change keys? Or what happens if we introduce notes that aren't within the key? Well, it turns out that it is possible to change key, and you've probably heard of this idea. But what's actually happening within the notes? How do we create this feeling of changing the gravitational pull towards another note? Really, there's 2 ways of doing this. The first is unprepared, and for this we just change key. No warning, no preparation, we just jump into a new key. This happens quite a lot at the end of pop songs. In the final chorus, the music will just jump up a key, and it can be really effective at giving the music a lift. Modulation is a key change which is prepared and doesn't just suddenly jump into a new key. Instead, a new tonal centre is thoughtfully developed, normally by introducing notes which belong in the new key but not in the old key. These notes create an attraction towards a new tonal centre, which can then be emphasised by a cadence in the new key. And once we're in a new key, the composer or the songwriter has a whole new landscape for developing ideas. If we want to return to the previous tonal centre, we just reintroduce the notes from the old key, and all the other notes are taken with them. All music uses this feeling of expectation and realisation. And by using different keys, the composer or songwriter can take a musical theme into another world, which in turn creates a bigger canvas for expectation and reality.